Sci-fi has always fed us this one big story about the future. The machines turn on us. We've seen it a million times, right? AI just wakes up one day, decides humanity is the problem, and boom, game over. But what if the real threat, the story that's actually unfolding right now, is a lot less about them and a lot more about us?
Okay, so let's break this down because this is where we have to separate the Hollywood fantasy from what's really happening. The movie version is simple. The robots become evil. But the real-world scenario, it's way more subtle and honestly, a lot more believable. It's a world where AI never has to become evil or conscious or anything like that to make things unbelievably dangerous. It just has to get really, really good at doing exactly what we tell it to.
And that right there is the core of it. The true danger of AI isn't really about what it's going to do to us. It's about what we as humans are almost certainly going to do with it. I mean, just look at history, right? It gives us a super clear blueprint. From the very first sword, to gunpowder, to airplanes, all the way to nuclear physics, we have this incredible track record. We invent these amazing, powerful new tools, and almost immediately we figure out how to weaponize them. There's just no good reason to think AI is going to be the one magical exception to this rule we've been following for thousands of years.
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer is that this isn't some far-off, theoretical future anymore. Just recently, we've had reports that Ukraine is testing humanoid robots in actual combat. At the exact same time, you've got China showcasing its own incredibly advanced robots in these big, choreographed demonstrations. So yeah, this isn't science fiction, this is breaking news. The AI arms race is already on.
So how does this whole thing escalate? Well, it's because AI isn't just another wrench in the toolbox. It actually acts as a powerful catalyst, an accelerant, for our oldest and most dangerous habits.
And this quote from Nicholas Smith just nails it. The disease, the underlying problem, has always been us. It's our own tendency toward conflict. AI doesn't create that. But what it does do is act like high-octane fuel poured on a bonfire. It supercharges our ability to compete and to fight on a scale we've never even imagined before.
And you can see exactly why this is so tempting, right? If you're a military planner, you're not thinking about killer robots from some movie. You're thinking about real, tangible, strategic advantages. Processing intel faster than any human ever could, perfecting logistics, identifying targets in a split second, and adapting on the battlefield in real time. What we're really talking about is making the whole machine of war terrifyingly efficient.
Okay, so this efficiency, it creates a whole new kind of arms race. One with some really unique and deeply, deeply unsettling features that are unlike anything we've ever faced before.
And this table, wow, it just lays out the chilling logic perfectly. Think about it. It takes nearly 2 decades to raise a human soldier, and then years to train them. And when they're lost, all that experience is gone forever. But a robot, you can build one in a few weeks. Its training is just a software update. And if it gets destroyed, the data, the experience, is saved, shared, and instantly used to make the next one even better. It completely changes the game on risk, and it can be scaled at a speed humanity just can't compete with.
And look, this isn't some far-off theory. We're already seeing this logic play out. Just look at modern drone warfare. You can use these relatively cheap, almost throwaway systems to overwhelm and destroy incredibly expensive, top-of-the-line military hardware. The math, both economically and strategically, is just undeniable, and it's pushing every nation deeper and deeper down this road.
So the first thing you're probably thinking is, okay, why can't we just ban this stuff? Regulate it. And it's a great question. But that's also where we slam right into the game theory that makes this whole thing feel so inevitable.
Here's the trap. International agreements, arms control, they only work as long as everybody trusts that everybody else is playing by the rules. But the moment one country even suspects another is getting an AI advantage, holding back doesn't feel like taking the moral high ground anymore. It feels like strategic suicide. The fear of getting left behind will almost always crush the desire for everyone to be safe together.
And that kicks off this terrifying, self-perpetuating cycle. It's a doom loop. Nation A makes a move, maybe it's defensive, but Nation B sees it as a threat, so Nation B races to catch up. Now Nation A sees that as a threat, so they accelerate even more. It's a feedback loop fueled by mutual fear, and the only direction it ever goes is faster and faster.
And at the end of the day, it really just boils down to this. When a nation feels like its very survival is on the line, all those important debates about ethics and morality, they start to feel like a luxury. The urgent need to not fall behind pushes every single other consideration off the table. So where does all this leave us? Well, it leads to a pretty sobering conclusion. The real problem here isn't the technology, it's us. This is a maturity test for our entire species, and if you look at our history, it's a test we don't have a great track record of passing.
This line from Nicholas Smith just hits so hard because it's so true. As a species, we are brilliant toolmakers. Our ability to invent powerful new things is absolutely incredible. But our ability to build the political and moral wisdom to handle that power, let's just say, it's a little less reliable.
Let's compare this to the Cold War for a second. Nuclear weapons were absolutely terrifying, but their sheer world-ending power made them almost impossible to actually use. Nobody could win. But AI systems are different. They promise precision, they promise efficiency, they promise a lower human cost, at least for the one using them. They're so much easier to imagine using in some limited way, which, ironically, might make them even more dangerous than nukes.
And the author has this incredible analogy for our situation. He says it's like we're all diners in the restaurant at the end of the universe. Most of us, the public, we're just watching this whole thing unfold like it's some kind of spectacle. We're concerned, sure, but we feel totally powerless against the unstoppable momentum of military competition and global fear.
Which leaves us with this final, haunting question. We've spent all this time worrying about AI developing a mind of its own, becoming our enemy. What if we miss the real danger? What happens when AI doesn't become our enemy, but instead becomes the most powerful and efficient servant our own worst instincts have ever had?
Because in the end, if this all goes wrong, it won't be because the machines rebelled against us. It'll be because they were perfectly, flawlessly obedient. It'll be because they did exactly what we designed them to do: serve the oldest and most powerful human drivers there are: competition, ambition, and fear.